Record button. All right. As we were chatting before we started, Nikki, you do a regular show on what, Facebook Live?
Yeah, Facebook Live on Monday nights at 6:30 Central Time. And usually
and you
the
also
camera.
teach cooking classes, right? I mean, well, I'm the department chair, the program coordinator now for the hospitality program at SIU. So I don't teach as many of the food classes as I used to. Oh man, that's like the more responsibility, the less fun it is. No, well, it's a different kind of fun.
I call her Professora from now on.
Yeah. So I think I first met you at a cooking demonstration at the farmers market, and I just heard that the winter farmers market's going to have cooking demonstrations. So
good,
exciting. Because I mean, that's part of the reason why I do this cooking is for me to learn, but also I grew up cooking, but it blows my mind how often people don't cook.
That's unfortunately, and that's a generational
they're like, oh, this is like really hard to make, and then you're like, oh, like, well, example was tiramisu. We're just like, wow, that is so simple to make.
Yeah, it's like 4 ingredients.
Yeah, just like, so what are we making tonight?
Well, clearly we're making something with leeks because it keeps showing you that.
It just keeps going over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I no clue what's going on my end. We're just going to go with it because, it just happens. So we are going to make 3 different dishes that are not the main turkey meat dish for Thanksgiving. We're going to start with a creamed corn bread pudding, which kind of takes the place of a dressing or a stuffing, or maybe dessert. Not sure there. See, I have no idea what it's doing here.
Yep, your camera just keeps switching over. You're just going to have to keep cutting stuff up, I guess. Huh?
I suppose so. And we're going to put that in the oven. It has to bake for 30 minutes, give or take. Then we're going to shift backwards a bit and do a curried pumpkin hummus. So my in-studio audience has something to snack on while we're doing this. And then we're going to finish up with a Brussels sprout dish that is top of the stove, nothing that goes in the oven, because oven is valuable real estate on Thanksgiving Day for sure. So
yeah, I've always made Brussels sprouts in the oven, so it seems like this Brussels sprout one is basically you're like caramelizing, or you're making like a balsamic reduction sauce.
It's yes, I use cider vinegar.
Sauce.
I'll go ahead and move over here since clearly it's gonna stay on leeks for a while. It's kind of my basic sweet and sour dressing with bacon. And if I can get one of my audience people to help me get the bacon going, I probably should have done this earlier.
Well, our show, we try to not do anything ahead of time.
Well, yeah,
cooking shows way too often make it seem super, super easy with no mistakes. Like, here, you put this turkey in the oven and here it comes right back out. Just like, so.
This camera is going to drive me nuts. This is not wanting to. Yeah, you're going to have to just switch it back and forth. So I'm going to hit this button. I need that one. I have no idea what it's doing. So yeah, we're going to start with the bread pudding first. Get that in the oven because it's going to take a bit.
I did prep somewhat because I bought a loaf of bread and I tore it apart and let it set out for basically a day, right, to dry out.
Yeah, and I put mine out this morning.
And I wasn't sure how. In the past, when I've done this, I've made the chunks of bread too small when you start putting moisture in. So I tried to make it pretty big and chunky. So let's see, what are we?
So I have 2 leeks and I split them down the middle. These were really big guys. So I split them down the middle so I get these half moon shapes. And I'm going to cut into the light green part, but I don't want the dark green part in this recipe.
Okay, so just the light part.
Yeah.
And so what would you use the green part? I guess you can make a soup with it, or
save it for vegetable stock. because you still.
I mean, yeah, I tend to save any vegetables I chop up. So you say take the green part off.
No, that's plenty.
Save that.
Isn't it leeks that sometimes have sand in them also?
Now, did you just cut them like, or did you cut it in half first and then chop it?
I cut it in half first because they were big. If you've got little ones, rounds are fine. I have no idea what it's doing. It's gonna make me crazy tonight. Thank you. So yeah, I just have these little rounds or half moon shapes. So 2 leeks just into the light green part, going into.
And that like smells like garlic, like 10 times or 20 times as strong as garlic.
Yes, and kind of that onion flavor is what you're gonna have, but not as strong as onion.
It almost smells like wild garlic to me.
Yeah, it does actually.
I haven't used leeks in a while. Yeah, it smells like wild garlic. So let's see, you put butter, or does it matter if I put olive oil?
Olive oil, butter, bacon grease, whatever you want to use there.
All right. So
weird what happened there. I have no idea what it's
butter.
doing.
I got lots of butter.
No, it's for Brussels sprouts. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna make like a pumpkin hummus. That sounded weird. So
it's really good though.
Oh,
it's fine.
Are we just
so
medium
here we've
heat?
got leeks and about 2 tablespoons of butter, olive oil, bacon grease, some combination thereof, whatever you prefer, just some sort of fat that it can go in. And then I'm going to chop up the phone one. Yeah. Chop up some celery.
Now you said it said 2 celeries. I didn't know if it meant 2 stalks or 2 big bundles.
2 stalks of celery.
I got a lot of extra celery now then.
Well, it's good for you. It does work well with the hummus.
Veggie stock then. Yeah.
Eat it with the hummus. So when I deal with stalks of celery, I actually cut the stalks so they're about palm width or palm length, because it's a whole lot easier to chop a short amount than a long amount. But we're just going to.
And then it actually fits on the board that way too. My little board.
Too. And you'll see I've got the leaves up here too. I'm going to use those. They're not.
I grew some celery and I was just like, it's just like it to me. It just looks like Italian parsley when you grow celery yourself in the garden.
What you get in the grocery store versus what you get at farmer's market, because it's been grown and not commercially grown, it's very different. And I'm going to chop this a little bit smaller, mostly because it cooks faster.
All right. So 2 leeks and then 2 things of celery in the pan.
Yep. And if you don't have leeks, can't find leeks, shallots or onions or combination thereof, works fine. You're really just kind of going for that slight onion flavor.
I've taken to just using what do you call it? Roasted garlic powder, like having a pound of that around.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
And then then I don't have to worry so much about in case I forget to have fresh.
And then turn you up.
All right. I think I'm gonna. And this is just for 1 loaf of bread, right?
1 loaf of bread, and I just bought.
Now you didn't tear yours apart. You're just sliced.
Well, I just bought sliced bread, so I'm going to cut it up here in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what are you making here? Kind of a stuffing?
So it is actually a bread pudding, as opposed to, it's like a savory bread pudding. So we're going to use sour cream, as opposed to chicken or turkey stock that you would put in stuffing or a dressing.
Mm-hmm.
My counter space isn't quite big enough here, which is frequently the problem. So while our vegetables are sauteing. I'm just going to cut my bread up and put it, I've got a mixing bowl off to my side.
Yeah, I just tore mine up. That's how I
Yeah.
always learned to do bread pudding, is you just tore big chunks, but I mean, not bread pudding, stuffing.
Chunks are fine. Tearing it is fine. I just, this is partly OCD and partly it goes faster.
All right.
So, and here's what, they're 1.5 inches or so cubes. And I just bought, Sarah Lee has like an artisan brioche loaf that you can buy just next to the regular old bread. And I think Nature's Own might have a brioche loaf. There's a couple of different brands that do brioche now.
So I was able to, at the farmer's market today, to get some really nice shiitakes. Is there anything I could put in tonight?
You can put those, out of what I'm making, I would probably put those in the Brussels sprouts.
Okay. Or I can just say, well, at this point, I've got so much celery and leeks for a soup, I could make a really nice
Make
soup
them,
stock
yep, absolutely.
with the shiitakes too. So.
Jill, you want to hit the second blue webcam? Yeah. So they can see how that celery is looking. Now, if I were making stuffing instead of this bread pudding, the process is pretty much the same, short of chicken or turkey stock over the dairy that I'm using. So celery, leeks, onion, all of that goes into dressing and stuffing too.
So just a little more savory.
Yeah.
But why would you call this? I mean, this is still savory, so I mean, pudding to me tends to be sweet.
Because of the cream corn that's going into this, so it's a little bit sweeter.
It is sweet, really.
Yeah, but not as sweet as like bread pudding with raisins and that kind of thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to send you down to get a carton of eggs out of my fridge in the basement, because I'm going to need eggs and I don't have enough up here. All right, so now we're going to turn this off and kind of push it over off the heat a little bit. And if anybody has
to brown it at all,
what'd you say?
We're not trying to brown it.
Well, you're going to brown it a little bit, but I wouldn't like caramelize it necessarily. And if you want seasoning, salt, pepper, thyme goes well with corn. You can put all of that in your vegetables too. Sorry, I'm making a double batch here.
Yeah, we always made a cornbread stuffing. So instead of this kind of bread, I mean, we would just basically make a loaf of cornbread, but with all this stuff. We put whole corn, cream corn, and also hominy corn in the cornbread. Bake it in the oven, and then cut it up. And that's our stuff.
Sounds good. Whew.
Oh.
All right. So here.
Then it takes, like you said, it takes up some oven space.
Yes, absolutely. Here's my cubed bread. Some of it's still soft, some of it's kind of stale because I let it sit out. I actually don't like it when it gets like super like crouton crusty hard, because I like my bread pudding and my stuffing and my dressing to be like mushy.
Okay.
But if you don't like that mushy, then let it get crusty, crunchy, and it won't soak in quite as much liquid. All right, so I'm going to crack. I've got 4 eggs. So we're going to make the bind, basically, is what we're doing. So
in a separate bowl.
Yeah, I do. It's just easier for me. So I'm going to crack my eggs.
4 eggs.
Mm-hmm. And this is also one of the differences between bread pudding and dressing or stuffing.
Well, if we had eggs, we'd put eggs in our cornbread too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you.
All right.
So I'm going to salt these and put some pepper in here. And yes, that looks like a lot of salt, but this is a lot of bread pudding. So probably about a half a teaspoon of pepper.
So is this recipe enough for like your family, or you need?
Oh no, well, yeah, this is plenty for my family.
Just like one loaf.
This probably would feed 8 people, maybe 12, depending on what else you had sitting around the table. I threw some thyme in here too, that it's not necessarily something the recipe calls for that you have, but sour cream here in a minute. So I'm going to whisk these up. And then I'm going to get my sour cream and my can of creamed corn. Thank you. And it's 1 cup of sour cream, which is about what I have left in my sour cream container.
Not me. I happen to have a big one.
I am a Prairie Farms girl, and they don't make big ones.
I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know where I got that one from.
That's probably not quite a full cup. We're going to need some more. Thank you.
How do we make some sour cream real quick?
Underneath the leek. It's hidden. Thank you.
And put the corn and the sour cream in, right?
Yeah, corn and sour cream. And, just any old can of creamed corn is fine.
And yeah, I mean, the creamed corn in the US is really sweet.
It is very sweet, yeah.
We don't have to add any sugar to this. So.
Do not, no. And if you don't, if you want to make your own creamed corn, it's actually pretty simple. And it would be, you could control the sweetness that way too, if you needed to or wanted to.
I've never made creamed corn. I would like, there you go. I've always been lazy and just bought the can. But, oh, that's not true. I've done it before where, where I cut the corn off the cob. That's absolutely amazing. Now that I think about it. Got 4 eggs, a can of cream corn, a cup of sour cream.
Yep.
And then I put some Italian seasoning in it, which
I did, yes.
can you throw it? Well, I guess it might get it too wet if you threw a can of regular corn in too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And you just would have extra corn. That would be yummy too. Yes, that's actually a good suggestion, Jen. If you use a regular can of corn, to strain it first. Or you could use frozen corn.
It's very interesting. This is like pretty much my same recipe, except instead of putting the dried bread in it, I would then mix cornmeal and put it in a pan and bake it as cornbread.
Yes. And I have a recipe. And in fact, I put this on my blog about 4 days ago that mixes this recipe with like jalapeno poppers and a recipe that my grandma used to make that was Jiffy corn muffin mix with corn and creamed corn.
So this is actually very thick. I was thinking it would be thinner. Yeah.
All right. I'm to the point where I'm going to put my vegetables in.
But you said we're going to bake this.
Yeah, we're going to bake at 375.
Might as well preheat.
Yeah, once your oven comes up to temp, you're going to bake for about 30 minutes.
I tend to always forget to preheat and then put it in there and then.
It's well, if you put this in to cold oven, it takes maybe 15 minutes longer. 10 to 15 minutes.
So yeah, try to remember to preheat it 15 minutes before.
What'd you say, 375 or 350?
375.
Okay.
Now, if you had something in the oven that was at 350 and you wanted to bake this along with, then
Longer time.
it just takes longer. Yeah, the little bit lower heat's not going to bother it too much. I'm actually I bake on convection. So I left the temperature the same. It's going to take about 25% less time, give or take. So
Convection's that much faster?
yeah, it really is. If you're baking at the same temperature.
Why is that? I mean, what is the flow of, I mean, convection oven is only flow of air, right?
Yes. So in a convection oven, you actually have a fan that is blowing, moving that air around, as opposed to non-convection or kind of your standard oven. There's no air movement. So you're just kind of relying on the heat hitting the pan as it's going to. So how far are you? Are you ready to put the bread pudding together?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's like my computer has been taken over by the ghost in the machine. Okay, so all we're gonna do is
you just got spoiled by having 3 cameras and.
Well, and I tell you what, it's probably mad because Chili's not here tonight. He's deer hunting, and I'm sure that he'll use that as the excuse. Yeah.
He'll be like, he's the
right.
controller.
That's how that's gonna go.
So are we just layering it like lasagna, a layer of bread, a layer of sauce?
I actually mix it all up. So I'm gonna put my bread on top of this mixture.
All right. I don't think that'll fit my bowl with the sauce is smaller. Can I do it the other way? Why not?
Well, I need to get you a bigger bowl then.
Well, I have 2 different. I just happen to put it in a smaller bowl. The bread's in a big.
I'm going to use my hands, but because we're on air, I'm going to use gloves, so I don't have to worry about taking time to wash my hands. You could use a rubber spatula, wooden spoon, whatever you've got if you don't want to get your hands dirty. But the best kitchen tools you've got are those 2 hands. So.
All right, here goes. Let's see how it feels.
It feels mushy, which is also why
it smells so good. I want to lick my fingers now. Like, oh, I got this on my fingers. Let me lick them.
And really all you're wanting to do is toss until it's all kind of starting to soak up a little bit.
Okay, so it didn't seem wet at all, but now that
you start mixing it, yeah, it does. Now, if you're a cheese lover and you have to have cheese and everything, add a cup of cheese to this.
It's like, I guess any kind of cheese, huh? Well,
yeah.
Well, you'd want probably melty cheese.
Cheddar would be really good, yeah.
I just recently found out that the #1 cheese people eat in the world is Gouda.
Oh, that's unexpected, actually. Yeah.
Yep, I was thinking it was either mozzarella or cheddar.
I would do cheddar, white or yellow, either one. My favorite.
You didn't, oil your pan or grease your pan that you're going to bake it in?
I didn't with this particular pan, but if you've got one that's notorious for sticking, then spray can of oil would be fine.
Just in case. Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I always seem to oil it. So this is actually olive oil spray. Ooh,
yeah, like some sort of baking spray would be fine, but
oh, now that I wash my hands, I'm gonna have to put my hands again. Oops.
You'll just have to wash your hands again. Guys, I'm sorry for that constant camera switch. It's just, I don't want to stop and take time to fix it. So
we don't notice it too much. You're just more used to having the phenomenal 3 cameras, I think.
You're doing great. Doing great.
She's used to getting stepped on. Thank you. My dog's
Also,
here in here with
you're
us.
used to having someone control the board, so maybe it was being twitchy before, but he just kept switching it back.
It who knows?
I doubt it.
Okay.
All right.
So this is ready to go in the oven. It's ready to come out of the oven, yeah. And I actually have a pork roast in the oven right now that we're gonna eat for dinner. So we're gonna take it out before the alarm comes out.
All right. Set the timer for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I would start at 30 minutes.
And I guess, I mean, you're just looking for it being, I don't know, not mushy. Because really the only thing you're cooking really is what? The eggs.
Yeah, basically everything else is good. Okay, so I'm gonna set this in. Yeah, it's fine at 375. And remember, I'm on convection, so I'm gonna go a little bit less. And really what you're looking for when it's done is kind of a light brown. See if we can see me. It's okay. All right, switching back and forth. You're looking for kind of a light brown on the edges. You don't want it to get too dark. And that egg to kind of fluff it up and set up. So if you need to test it, a clean toothpick down the middle comes out clean, like just a wooden toothpick. Or if you have a cake tester, that would work too. If that comes out clean, then it's done. I'm gonna turn my thermometer off. Woo-wee.
Thermometer.
I had a thermometer probed into my pork loin.
Oh, okay.
Give me just a second to maneuver in here and we'll start on the next item.
The next one
The next
would be
item
the
up for
hummus, right?
bid. Yep.
Call it hummus. Now I noticed the name of it was almond. Well,
You noticed that mess up, did you?
yeah, it was like the name of it was almond, but the ingredient said cashew, and I happen to have almond butter, so.
Well,
I
I have
just
almond.
didn't buy
I've made it with both. And I happen to have almond butter, so that's why the recipe title says almond butter. And I forgot to change the ingredient when I sent it to you.
Now, both of the almond butter and cashew butter are both allergy free.
And so whichever one you want to use is fine.
All right. Let's see, how big of a bowl do we need? It's 2 cups. Anyway, let's do a smaller bowl. How many bowls we can dirty up tonight?
I'm gonna dirty a lot.
Yep, I try to. So I suppose you could use any type of nut butter for this, right?
You could, and you could use tahini. I'm not a big fan of tahini, to be honest with you.
Me neither.
Or if you're allergic to sesame seeds, then it's a no-go anyway.
Right. So both almond and cashew are actually not nuts, so they're not. Most people aren't allergic to it.
Right. And you could use peanut butter in this if you prefer, if that's an okay.
Well,
thing
it's
for you
like
to
a third the price, so I prefer it.
use.
But all right, so
No, it's fine.
I got my pumpkin puree and
It's like I turn the main camera on and my kitchen crew just goes. They ran. Okay, so tell me where you're at, because I actually can't see you on
okay.
screen.
I mean, I just opened my can of
Okay.
pumpkin. That's all.
Okay, then I'm going to shift back over to my food processor. And are you using a food processor or blender? Or
I have like a 1 cup food processor, so I probably should use the blender.
Or mixer? Do you have like a handheld mixer or a upright?
Yeah. Well, you mean like an egg beater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would work too. I'm actually going to get my big mixer out, I think, for this one.
So Otherwise, can you just mix it with a, I guess it wouldn't become really smooth if you mixed it just by hand.
Right.
Isn't that a mixer there or right in front of you?
Oh yeah, I've got, well, I've got the, I've got the same big KitchenAid mixer right there, if that's what you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. That was actually kind of funny.
Just right in front of me right there. I mean.
Yeah, I hopefully have the camera here set up so you can kind of see mine.
Would you people mind telling what the measurements are? Because I don't have the recipe.
Yeah, hang on a second. We'll read them to you real fast.
And I'll cut and paste it into the.
Yeah, that'd be fine too.
Let's see, 1/2 cup of nut butter, 2 tablespoons olive oil, 1 teaspoon pureed garlic,
Oh, you're going
1
too
can
fast.
pumpkin, and I'll cut and paste it in. But we'll go through it one at a time here.
Okay.
Gonna put it in the chat, Barbara.
Yeah,
We'll put it
I'll
in
read
the
them off.
chat.
Oh, okay.
Usually when I make hummus, I do this in the blender, but because the cashew butter and almond butter is so much thicker than, thank you.
Isn't technically hummus always garbanzo beans?
Yeah, technically. So
So really, this is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you would call it. So anyway.
it's hummus inspired. How's that? Hummus adjacent. I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna get my cashew almond butter again. Whichever one you have is fine.
Mine, I messed up. I forgot to, you know, when you have really good, the oil separates, so you're supposed to flip the thing over, and I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
You're
have
supposed to flip
the
it
kind
over and
that's
let it percolate up.
not supposed to separate, and it still separates. So don't believe that lie.
Yeah. So let's see how well I can take it out of here, because basically I need the whole jar. Well, no, I need 1/2 cup.
Yeah.
Which is about half this jar. But all right, it's mixing pretty good.
2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to eyeball that. And again, blender or mixer or egg beater or whatever works for you will work for this. Pureed garlic, which I have to get out of the fridge real fast.
Can I just use minced garlic? No, that'd be chunky.
If you're using a food processor, minced garlic would be fine. I mean, just the garlic clove thrown in would be fine too. But because I'm not using something that will chop it up already, I'm gonna have to open a new jar of this too. Man, using all sorts of stuff tonight. Clean out the fridge time. And pretty much. To do before Thanksgiving. Yeah.
I have such good memories of almond butter when I was a kid, because we always ate peanut butter. And then one day Dad came home with a 5-gallon bucket of almond butter.
Oh my gosh.
5 gallons.
Well, he used to do that at the beginning. It's stuck in my roof of my mouth. Give me a second. I just put a little bit in. When Dad worked in construction, he'd make a lot of money in the summer and then not much in the winter. So he would buy like a big bag of flour, 5-gallon thing of oil, 5-gallon bucket of peanut butter, and a 5-gallon bucket of honey, big bag of sugar, you know, stuff to try to, and we'd eat a lot of bread and peanut butter in the winter.
Yeah.
But one winter, he brought home a 5-gallon bucket of almond butter.
That's some expensive stuff. Mercy.
Yeah, that was a good winter. So how much we need pureed garlic? I don't know. This is
1 teaspoon of pureed garlic. I would say 1 to 2 cloves, depending on how you like.
Run that through the food processor, because I've got plenty of garlic, but not minced, or what do you call it? Pureed. So this is just like, I wonder if you could stretch this out by adding garbanzo beans, and then it'd be a true hummus.
Yeah, absolutely. Or cannellini beans ground up would be good too.
Yeah, I've had some. What was my favorite? I had what sweet was a chocolate hummus.
Oh, that sounds yummy.
Quite literally garbanzo beans and chocolate. And you wouldn't think, but the garbanzo beans just, disappeared the flavor.
That would be yummy. I do hummus a lot with sweet potatoes too.
I always have to make my own because the one that's from the store has tahini in it. For some reason, I don't like tahini.
Sorry, I'm making noise over here.
Plus, they charge a huge absorbent amount when you buy it in the store.
Or, I mean, if you wanted to, you could have it basically a can of garbanzo beans already, and then mix your flavors in it, and then just eat it.
I'm all for eating.
Is they pureed it. That's all right.
All right, I've got my pumpkin in, and it is pure pumpkin. So if you buy it in the can, make sure it says pure pumpkin and not pumpkin pie filling, although that would be good too. But then your spice mix is weird. So
yeah, I actually made a mistake. I grabbed the can of pumpkin and then I was like, wait, this is pumpkin pie. I almost did that. All right. Let's see, pulse.
All right. Half a teaspoon of
You
cumin.
think I need to add any liquid to puree?
No, shouldn't need to now.
All right, let me mute real quick so you don't hear this super loud.
I'm not going to mute. You guys are going to get to hear mine. I mean, it's a cooking show, right? So it's 2 teaspoons of curry powder, half a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of cardamom.
Okay, I ran it through. All it did was mince it. See?
That's okay.
I was like, I have minced garlic already, but
and a teaspoon of salt.
I guess I would have to add. I guess if I had put the 2 tablespoons of oil in here, then it would have creamed it.
Yes, if you haven't done that, go ahead. All right, I'm turning mine on, so I'm gonna cover my mic a little bit, and maybe not cover the camera.
What do you serve this with? Just
I've got celery, carrots, cauliflower, crackers.
So just different dipping.
You got that extra celery to dip with.
That's true. Well, I already cut up the one. I'm gonna make soups, like some really good soup. All right, let's see what else. So I've got the nut butter, the olive oil, the garlic, the pumpkin. Now I need to put the flavors. 2 teaspoons of curry powder.
If you're using like a KitchenAid, you might have to scrape things down a little bit as you're mixing. Because all my nut butter ended up on the bottom.
Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't have put the nut butter on the bottom. Should have put the pumpkin first. What is it when you're baking? You're supposed to put the wet stuff on the bottom first, right?
Yeah.
So the nut here was
now
dry.
If you taste this and decide it's not sweet enough, a little bit of honey would be good.
Little salt.
I'm going to attempt to put my mixer back.
Cumin and cardamom.
Yummy. Do you want honey in it? No. Okay. Not much. No, the curry is not overpronounced. It works really well with the almond butter. All right, I'm going to maneuver some things here.
Cardamom.
because I'm gonna need my food processor next.
Yeah, be very careful on that cardamom. It says a half teaspoon. You can very easily overpower. I've made that mistake way too many times.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna clean my whisk off here, and then I'm going to finish whipping this with my spatula.
This is.
Thank you. What you doing?
Had this. It's very interesting because I've had this as a soup.
Okay. Oh, perfect. God, you guys are good.
Yeah, I've had this same recipe, I feel, as a soup.
I mean, it would be great, and a little bit of coconut milk to make it a cream soup would be incredible. Oops, sorry, you guys can't see that.
The only thing
I'm making sure all my nut butter got off the bottom of this.
All right.
I have a 25-year-old KitchenAid, and the newer designs have shallow bowls. And it's because the beater and whisk attachments never make it to the bottom of this older design.
That's very true. I have an older one too, I guess, because I've always thought.
This one's still kicking, so I'm not replacing her yet.
So I got this as a, I'm a solar electrician. I got this as a tip on a job.
Sweet.
Yeah, this lady, the best part wasn't the KitchenAid. The best part is she'd been making cheesecake for 62 years and she gave me her recipe.
Oh, yum.
Yep. We got to talking and I was like, why do you have 4 KitchenAids? And she started telling me about her cheesecake business. And
now, if you wanted to do the whole hummus thing here in the bowl, thank you. I'm gonna make a little bit of a, not with that spatula though, little bit of a dimple.
oh, look at how beautiful that plate is. You're gonna have to send us some pictures. That's what I'm trying to, I've always been good at cooking lots of food, but I'm getting better at cooking small amounts that are fancy.
All right.
All right. Now I'm
And
gonna
if you, let's see, what do I have that's green? I don't have much that's green that would go with this.
That is amazing.
So yeah, this is how I would, well, it's how I am serving it. My crew's gonna eat it here in a little bit after one of my photographers takes photos.
What did you put in the groove?
More olive oil.
Oh, okay.
And only because when you serve hummus, that, I mean, I see that a lot.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just pretend that it's hummus.
I haven't got it out of the bowl. I have to do 5 taste tests.
So there we go.
That is amazing. Oh, wow. I've had this as a soup, but without, I think without the nuts. Instead, it had
yeah. And
I feel like it had peanut butter in it still.
I like this with the almond butter more than with other nut butters. But I also like the peanut butter and curry combination as well. So it really honestly is whatever floats your boat, folks.
Well,
That too.
The main thing is every one of them is going to taste a little different because unless you use the exact same type of curry.
Right. And because I have almond butter in it, there's our garnish.
All right. I guess I could have been slow cooking the bacon, but.
Well, I didn't put mine on either. Yeah, if you want to, that'll work. I'm going to turn on my bacon.
I would say the only thing is that garlic, that fresh garlic I used is a little too intense.
Yeah, it might be a little pungent. That's also why I use pureed garlic in a lot of things when I do salsas and stuff. Because it's not so intense. It's been cooked and mushed, basically.
But it also releases more flavors the more it's mushed too.
I almost don't want to
It's so pretty.
You don't want to. No, here, take photos and then we'll try it.
All right, I'm not gonna wash my frying pan. I'm just gonna use the same one. The last from the leaves.
Mercy. Now, in case everybody is wondering, this is what my kitchen looks like on Thursday for Thanksgiving. I typically clean as I go, which is kind of one of my rules of thumb when you're cooking. And no, there's nothing. I'm gonna put it back on me. There we go. We're gonna take some photos here real fast and then we'll taste test. But I clean as I go when I'm cooking. And I do that on Thanksgiving, Christmas, big meals, because it's a whole lot easier to deal with the cleanup after the fact. So.
Well, I do that. I purposely don't have very many pots.
Yeah, so you.
No, I'm just, Fred's always teasing me that I only have like 3 pots. So. All right, so we're cutting up the bacon.
I can make it again.
Are we cutting up the bacon really small?
Sorry, I'm eating.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you. Hang on.
Okay.
So now, if you'd rather fry it whole and then crumble it later, that's fine too.
It's a lot easier. Oh, let's see. How much bacon? Oh, I didn't cut and paste the recipe.
There's little plates out there too if you want.
All right. Only 6 slices. I'm gonna go. I actually bought 3 things of Brussels sprouts because I love Brussels sprouts. I don't think I'll be able to make them all in my small little pan.
That's good.
I've always done Brussels sprouts in the oven.
Well, I'm gonna get Brussels sprouts going. So where are you at in the cooking of the Brussels sprouts process? Just on the bacon?
I'm just starting to cut the bacon.
Okay. I've got bacon going.
In past show, I was told to get one of these cleavers, so I'm gonna try that. Oh,
and
there you go. I just cut them all up.
Cut all what? Huh? I'm lost.
The bacon.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I used the cleaver instead of like cutting. I just went wham, wham, wham. That was fun.
All right. So on Brussels sprouts, I'll show you guys here. Hang on. I've got some little bitty baby. They're not babies. They just look like they're babies because they're little. You want to take this end off here that's stuck to the stem of the Brussels sprout.
Okay.
You don't need to worry about coring these the way we're going to prep them, but you definitely want to take that end off. So I'm going to do that real fast because I hadn't done it ahead of time. And just kind of set them aside. We're going to use the food processor to shave these up or down. And if you don't have a food processor, really sharp knife and really thin cuts, I'll show you how to do that here after I get them all trimmed. And patience, yes. Or if you have like a box grater that's got the slicing edge to it, that would also work, but be very careful.
What do they call this? Shaved Brussels sprouts?
Yeah.
I've seen them do that a lot. They've started doing the shaved Brussels sprout salad.
Yes, yeah. For people who don't like Brussels sprouts, I serve them this dish and I change their minds. And they may not ever like Brussels sprouts any other way, but I'm okay with that.
Oh, I like Brussels sprouts, but I don't like cabbage.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I like sauerkraut.
Well, cabbage is very strong flavor, so especially raw. And it gets mild as it cooks, more mild as it cooks.
Yeah, I guess I'm a lazy cook. When I do Brussels sprouts, I just like toss them in some olive oil and a balsamic vinegar or whatever flavors I want and just do a quick roast in the oven.
I do that too. I love them that way.
But again, we're following the
Yes.
tradition that the oven's full of what? Turkey and pies and
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love the
casseroles
crispy leaves.
during Thanksgiving.
All right, tell me where you're at and I'll speed up or slow down.
I'm cutting some of these Brussels sprouts.
Okay. If you don't have a food processor, let me take one of these big guys.
I just have a 1 cup, so
That's okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to, again, we've talked about this before. Hold your knife with a pinch grip, hold the end of the Brussels sprout, watch your fingers. Make sure your knife is sharp and you can just slice through those.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna do the trick.
not perfect.
Perfectly delicious.
You know what? It's not culinary school, it's dinner. So not perfect,
like-
it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Something's got my nose running.
Sorry.
All right. The other thing I didn't do, which I need to do before our bacon's done, is get an onion chopped up into that bacon.
Oh yeah, I've got the onion peeled already, but I don't have it chopped
I'm
up.
gonna move some things over on my cutting board. Cutting an onion, just a reminder, and for those of you maybe first joining, keep the root end attached. Cut the other end off. Cut in half lengthwise. And I'm going to use the whole onion because I've got a small onion. And also a fresh, very stubborn onion. The longer your onion sits around, the more of these outer layers will get browned that you'll want to peel off. This one's not there yet, so it's being stubborn.
Freshly pulled from the.
Yeah, it's a fresh one. Goodness. I'm having to use my fingernails to get up underneath here.
Yeah, I never can like waste the onion where you take off the other layer. I spend a little too much time always trying to peel it when
Well, don't look what I just did then, because that's exactly what I just did.
Well, what I do though is I save that bit of onion, I put it in a freezer bag, and then I make broth later.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna
don't
try.
wait.
I mean,
even
you can see
just
how.
onion skins makes a good broth.
Oh yeah, all that. You can see how green that is still right there where I chopped off the shoot part. Oh, that bacon smells good.
Wait till that onion hits the bacon.
Oh, it's gonna be so yummy. Okay, so I've left the root end attached. We're gonna slice in, we're dicing, so we're gonna slice in, not hitting that root because you want that to hang on. Some people on a large onion will slice in this way to get smaller dices. This little guy's not big enough for that. But when you slice it, now you've got dices already. And everything is nice and together. We're going to move this to the skillet our bacon is in. And I'm going to do this other one. These will kind of caramelize into that bacon grease and almost disappear.
There's not a lot of grease in there, actually. It's only like maybe a tablespoon or two.
Oh,
Maybe.
not very fatty bacon then.
I've got to go, or see you later.
All right, thanks, Fred.
Bye.
Yeah, Fred hosts every Saturday night. Well, lately it's been foodie films. He always does.
Oh yeah, for Halloween.
All right, almost got all
It's
of it.
probably done. in there. I'd give them another, a few minutes. All right, so onions in and going. We're gonna use a little bit of salt. And salt, by the way, maybe a little bit too much salt. Will actually keep your onion from browning. So your onion will cook and stay kind of translucent and white.
I didn't know that. I tend to not cook with salt at all, but that's a good.
And that's okay too. If you don't or can't do salt, that bacon's probably got enough salt in it. But all right, I'm gonna maneuver here again.
I used to be of the mind that if you had to put meat in something or salt in something, you were a lazy cook. But I've changed my mind.
Well, you have to have seasoning though. I'm putting mine through a food processor. So it's gonna be noisy here for a minute.
Here's my oven. All right. I've only got 4 more. I'm gonna cut these last 4 up.
How's your bread pudding coming?
Yeah, the timer just went off. So
Okay.
I'm gonna finish these last 4 Brussels sprouts and then check.
The Brussels sprouts were sticking in my food processor. Hang on a second. This is one of those dishes I would not necessarily prep ahead of time because your Brussels sprouts will go brown. That bread pudding, however, you could prep early or the day before and save yourself some time in the kitchen day of.
Well, I mean, I've never shaved Brussels sprouts because I always thought it was really hard work, but I just did the whole package here. And it wasn't that hard with the knife even.
No, and you're not looking for perfect millimeter slices or anything. You're just cutting them down so they cook quick, number one.
I've just seen shaved Brussels sprout salad. It's like a new thing recently, but yeah. So there's my package of Brussels sprouts all shaved up real quick.
Alrighty then.
All right.
All right.
Let's see how this bread pudding is. All right. Let me stir this first.
Clean that up later. Thank you. All right, so that's coming together. We're going to cook those Brussels sprouts down. It's not going to take them long.
Oh, I'm supposed to put all that in the bacon?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, all this happens stovetop, so you don't, I can smell that bread pudding. Yeah, when you start smelling your bread pudding, it's done.
All right, let's see here.
Oh.
No, I think mine still needs to do a little longer. It's still more.
I'm gonna test the middle of mine. So it doesn't exactly look like it's set up all the way. Yeah.
Oh, I had it set to 360. Oops.
Yeah. Carry over probably. It'll carry over a little bit. I think it was back in. Oh, we need yours, the oven on for yours, don't we? Okay, that works too.
So do I add anything else to the Brussels sprouts now, or that's not until it cooks down?
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry.
Do I add anything of the other stuff to the bacon and Brussels sprouts now, or just let it cook down?
Let it cook down a little bit. About 5 minutes is all you need.
I think.
And I'm actually gonna lay. My pan's big enough. I'm gonna create kind of a layer and let them get brown on the bottom a little bit. This, by the way, would also be good with kale, like curly kale or dinosaur kale,
Oh, yeah?
in place of the Brussels sprouts. And for non-kale lovers, That's a good way to get them to eat kale. There's good.
Yes. Kale, you can probably do collard greens. I don't know, mustard greens might be a little too strong.
Well, mustard and collard greens take a really long time to cook. So I would think that braising them now, after I cook, I don't do mustard greens very often, but after I cook collards, I'll do the same vinegar sugar combination that I put in this, which I'm going to get another little bowl and mix that up. Ooh, they smell good. All right. So I'm going to mix up about a tablespoon of cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I might double that. I've got a whole lot of Brussels sprouts here. If you would prefer less sweet, then reduce the amount of sugar, the brown sugar that you're using. Well, actually, that might be enough. I'm gonna 1.5 this because of the amount of Brussels sprouts I have.
How much Brussels sprouts do you have?
I probably had 5 cups full when it was all said and done.
I guess it doesn't have a weight or a measurement. It's just by volume. It's just a container full.
All right. And I'm going to stir this up so that sugar, I'm not real worried about it dissolving totally, but.
So let's see.
So it's kind of dissolved. If you don't want like the molasses flavor that's in brown sugar, regular sugar will be fine too. Or honey for that matter. It wouldn't be as sweet. All right, I'm going to pour that in.
So that's the salt, vinegar, and brown sugar.
Yep.
And I just pour it right into the pan. No?
Pour it right in and then stir it up. And then take it off the heat real fast.
Well,
it doesn't take much.
I'm just saying, could I put it on there and not mix it in a bowl?
Yeah, you can put it on as long as your sprouts are still hot, like hot.
Okay.
Because you want that sugar to finish melting.
Yeah, mine's gonna take a little longer because I'm like, I got a lot.
Thank you.
So, all right. I think I made the mistake of, I set it to like 260 the oven, not 275. I was on an angle here, so it looked that are looking directly at it. So my baking needs to take a little longer.
Right. So you guys can kind of see now.
So let's see. Really? What's it taste like? Just like slightly sweet?
Out, but I've made this before. I eat it for breakfast.
For breakfast?
Yeah. Breakfast.
All right. I think that's everything, right? Anybody have any final questions here? I'm still cutting up Brussels sprouts because I'm like doing like a triple recipe. I was so excited to see Brussels sprouts at the store that I bought 3 packages. So
They fridge for, you can eat on them for a while. But they cook down too.
But
With 5 cups raw.
But you barely cooked it down. I mean, you're not cooking it down very far.
Cook down, and once that hits it, it's gonna. You're basically. Yes, I will put those.
I don't know about other people. Your sound is going in and out for me, but so good thing it waited till the end.
Right.
So
It's a Christmas too. Don't ask. Yeah. You got your. Right, perfect. So for all of you,
thank you very much. Just like enough Brussels sprouts to last me for the week. Just like, does anybody have any final questions here?
And turkey and all sorts of. You never really get there.
For me, your sound is going in and out now. I don't know. Is that for other people?
Yeah, it's clicking.
So, oh well. Like tonight was a night of little bit technology. So, Lulu, did you have any questions?
No, I just wanted to tell Nikki, thank you so much. I enjoyed watching it.
Just like
my microphone.
And she does a live cooking show every Monday night, and then her husband couples it with a homemade drink. So, all right. So, thank you very much, Nikki.
Cheers.
Just like, I'm gonna eat some food. Wait.
No.
Oh wait, did you take yours out of the oven? So could you show us, or I missed that? Oh, there it is. Yeah, mine. I got, I don't know, a few more minutes because I by mistake put it at too low of a temperature. So, all right. That's next week. We're making Hanukkah jelly donuts. They're called soup gagnot. So it's a special donut for Hanukkah. Stuffed jelly donuts. So